Well, tell you what guys, I once had a video about planting trees where you want them and how there have been times that I've planted trees where I didn't want them and had to move them later. Now I've got to move an entire food forest we put in for somebody. I got my shovel. You got yours? You got your shovel? Yeah, I'm gonna take care of that one. Some of these smaller other ones.
Won't that one do pretty well, just rooting it and starting new trees?
It will. It will.
I don't care, you can do what you want.
Morning, buddy.
I think I'm gonna try to pull it up. So Jeff, what you got us into this morning?
You can do whatever you want. Same deal as yesterday.
He knows how the results go sometimes when somebody gives me a green light.
You do whatever you guys want to do.
But we're actually moving his food forest. I've never moved a food forest before. Thankfully it's young and there's not that many.
Well, you moved the food forest here.
I did.
So
I did, but it lived in buckets before that.
Yeah,
That's different.
Okay.
All right.
We got this.
We're gonna get to town and see what happens. If you look here, you're probably thinking you can just rip trees out of the ground and move them to a new location. Technically you can. It's best not to disturb, the root base of a tree. And even as this giant mulberry behind me, you can see it's got roots spreading out everywhere. I snipped a lot of them off, some of them broke off. The cool thing about ones like the mulberry and this elderberry, I'll grab that.
And witch hazel.
Yeah, witch hazel. Well, it's grown a lot since I dropped it off. But the cool things about some of these, like the elderberries and the mulberries, is you can cut a stick off, stick it in the ground, and if it gets enough moisture, it'll actually grow its own roots just from a cutting like this. It's a great way, if you have one and you want to put in a row, either as like a privacy fence or just a long row of production for food for you, a great way to do it. But the cool thing about all these trees right now is they're dormant. They're starting to bud out, which means they're going to wake up soon in the near future. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tuck them in to a new location, and they can wake up there. And then as they wake up in place, they'll start to regrow their roots and they'll start to grow out from the top. Just for travel's sake, I cut back this mulberry a bit, and that's one thing you do too. If you want to, when you move a dormant plant like this, if you trim back some of the upper growth, because the roots just got disturbed. They're not in place. They're not exactly hooked up and, you know, functioning at that moment. They'll start to regrow and supply the plant. But if there's less above the ground plant to support, those roots are going to have an easier job. Remember, the whole undisturbed root base was what was supplying that whole plant to begin with. So I cut off some of this mulberry. We got some elderberry. There's wild plum here. There's serviceberry. There's some paw paws. There is the witch hazel. There's a weeping willow over here. So I'm going to figure out a good way to get these all on this trailer. Maybe some of them in the truck, and then find some good places for them at Jeff's new property, so that all this food that's been growing here for a couple of years and getting established doesn't get lost, that it's able to still be used by Jeff in the future, and hopefully some of it will even be producing later this year for him. Isn't that exciting, Bugger?
Yeah!
Here's another cool one. I had a friend of mine who was helping me on that 7-man coop remodel yesterday. His boys really like Jeff's channel, and they decided to come on out and help, and he saw these and he knew they were Jerusalem artichokes, Sunchokes. So he dug up some of those to take to Jeff's new place too, and these I think kind of taste similar to like a sweet carrot maybe. They'll give you about 10 times as many the following year. So if you grow some of these, you can eat them raw, you can cook them, and if you plant this, you'll get about 10 times as many. So we're going to transplant some of those too, and just one of those cool perennials you can move. They're a beautiful flower, really tall, really cool looking, and we think they're tasty, don't we?
Yeah.
If they're in the fridge, you eat a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
Kind of cold and sniffly today, huh?
Yeah.
Me too.
Here you go, Bob.
Oh, I dropped my keys?
Yeah.
Thank you, son. Thank you.
Didn't know that you dropped your keys.
Yeah, I didn't. There's the men working. There's the children working. They're getting a rose over here. They're getting some forsythia. And now Kevin from River Mountain Homestead. He's working on the rose bush there. That one can go either way. Either stick the root ball at the back facing forward or put the root ball here facing back. Either way. I'll strap it on. Well, you guys just keep working real hard on making sure to get some excellent footage here. So the crew here is digging up some of his daylilies. These are really cool. We've got some of these growing in our property. Edible plant, very tasty. I heard the whole thing's edible. So far I just stuck to the flowers, because if you eat the bulbs, then you won't get as many the next year. But very tasty, and figure we might as well get as much pretty and food bearing and useful, beneficial
They're good for
plants.
pollinators also. They attract the butterflies and the bees, and it's a good thing to have around a garden.
That's right, that's right. So we'll make your new place look similar to your old place.
Well, take the good, leave the bad.
That's right. So chickens and flowers are a go. What do you got?
Little fetus.
Oh, pretty cool.
That's different. That's a bulb.
So Bugger here got a little bit cold, so he's in here reading a snake identification book, right, for the state of Arkansas. So he's learning about all sorts of stuff.
Mud day.
That one's actually the worm snake.
Yeah.
The mud snake's got more bands.
Yeah.
See, that's why he's reading. There you go. There's the mud snake. He's got the lines on him. See that? We want to go find those. They're down by Lake Conway too. You want to go try to find some this year?
Yeah.
And those we can find right on our own land. So he figured he'd warm up in here, take his cold boots off a little bit. All right, I'll let you keep studying.
Yeah.
And these here are really cool. These are some of the wild garlics that I found out in the woods by us. And I wasn't sure if it was something kind of native and natural in the area, or something that had got away from somebody's garden. But we found them a couple different places, even out towards Lake Bull Shoals. So that's leading me to believe there's something that may be naturally occurring in the area. Right now they can be eaten as a green, but down under here, they'll actually form a bunch of little bulbs, and they're the garlic we predominantly use. At the end of July, well, end of June, beginning of July here, you can just pull them out of the ground, and if you grab the whole kind of cluster of cloves and you rub it between your hands, the hulls will actually come off and you'll just have the garlic cloves left. And they also shoot up the little ball of bulbils, which we scatter wherever they're growing to make sure there's more growing in the years to come, but then also get them to new places too. So these could be divided up and he could put in a whole row or just have a couple clumps growing. And one thing I like to do, Jeff, one thing I like to do with the garlic, a lot of times the rodents don't like that. So if you plant it around your fruit trees, that helps deter them. So since we're planting a bunch of fruit trees, and since we have these right now, we can do some of that today.
Awesome.
Thanks for pointing those out. I forgot about bringing them over here.
Yeah.
So they're still alive and doing well and edible, tasty. We love them. And yeah, now we can do some companion planting. You'll always know where they are because they'll be under your fruit trees.
Warm blueberry muffins on a cold day.
Wow.
No?
He offers us flower bulbs and rhizomes and gives us muffins. Some of those should be number 2's grandkids, I think. So Albany Mountain Homestead stopped out as well. Brought us some food. I actually got some of that right here. We're taking to his new place. We're gonna have Jeff's vehicle, my friend's vehicle, our vehicle, River Mountain Homestead's vehicle. Greg is here. We're gonna have a 5-vehicle caravan. And we had a 5-man crew running here, kind of like our 7-man crew yesterday. But when we get to the other end, there's going to be even more people. So we're going to try to get all this stuff moved over and planted. I've got some of the wild garlic and some golden raspberries right here. The trailer's got all of his trees except for the mulberry, which is in the big one. And it looks like we're about to get going here to his new place. This is my first time going to his new place. I wanted to take a load over for him last time I was in the area. I even hooked up to the trailer. We partially loaded the trailer, but we never made it over there. So today we get to do that. We're excited and looking forward to setting them up for some food security in the years to come. Oh yeah, Sunchokes are in here too. got? Yeah? Well, I don't know what that is. What is that? Hey bugger, pick one of those service berries and bring it over here so I can see from this pile here. So with some of these, this one broke off of its main root system. It does have some little ones going out, so it should survive, it should do fine. But just to help ensure that these will grow for Jeff for years to come, I'm gonna take just a little bit of rooting hormone and put some in some of these holes too when I'm dealing with something like this. With one like this, there is part of the taproot that's broken off too, but there's just so much more, it probably won't really be necessary. And you can see it's even shooting up other runners. So these service berries here, you know, it'll turn into a whole kind of little cluster of these coming up, which will be really cool. Since they're going to be a good height for this area, and Jeff was thinking of kind of planting them over here, letting them fill in a little bit of this open area towards the road. Yeah, and we got this one too, and that one's obviously got even more of their roots, which means a bigger, harder hole to dig to get it in there. But we're doing it, right?
Yeah. For ground.
So these service berries are in. They'll continue to grow up. They'll block some of this over here. And yeah, they'll continue to spread out too. And there's also some of those wild garlics I planted. And I just mulched it, making it a little bit easier to see them right now. Now Jeff does have a nice path down this way to the creek down there. So we're thinking the Paw Paws are, you know, the largest native fruit to North America. They used to be very common across a lot of this area. They're still out there, but they like growing in the understory of the forest floor. And they also like having a good water source. So we're thinking that both those and the elderberries we're gonna plant down there. And the thing is when they get ripe, you know, he's only got to go down there once or twice to kind of collect the fruit because of, you know, just their season and how much they produce. So even though it may be a little more difficult to get down there, there is a nice path behind me, and he's thinking that's a good place over there. So the next one I'm gonna do is a wild plum over there, and we may do some grafting experiments in the future. Jeff's never done any grafting. I'm getting more and more into it each year, and I had some success so far. Definitely love being able to swap the variety of a plant. So that wild plum's a good root stock for a lot of the stone fruits, so we'll see how that goes. But so far so good. So cool to be here, and hoping that this place is, you know, a blessing to him for years to come.